If you've been driving your car for years, you've probably noticed little changes. Maybe the acceleration isn't as sharp as it once was, perhaps fuel economy has dipped, or the engine just feels tired. Many drivers accept this decline as inevitable, believing engines simply wear out with age. But the truth is more encouraging. With the right habits and some surprisingly simple steps, you can bring an engine back to life, restoring efficiency, power, and reliability. Think of it this way. An engine is not that different from a human body. It breathes air, consumes fuel, circulates vital fluids, and depends on every part working in harmony. When any one system clogs, weakens, or runs dirty, the whole body suffers. Revitalizing your car is less about miracles and more about discipline, addressing the little things that, when ignored, gradually eat away at performance. So today, let's dive into the practical actions that can genuinely make your engine run like new again. These aren't gimmicks, shortcuts, or expensive dealership upsells. They're proven habits rooted in mechanics, chemistry, and long-term reliability. Habit 1. Give your engine clean, consistent fuel delivery. If air is the breath of your engine, fuel is the food. And just like nutrition for a human body, the quality, cleanliness, and balance of that fuel make all the difference between vitality and sluggishness. You could be buying the best gasoline at the pump, but if your fuel system is compromised, it's like eating organic food through a dirty straw. You won't absorb the benefits. The silent workhorse, fuel injectors. At the heart of modern engines are the fuel injectors, tiny nozzles designed to mist fuel into a fine spray. Unlike the carburetors of old, injectors must deliver microscopic precision, atomizing fuel so it blends seamlessly with air. When injectors are clean, the combustion process is efficient, powerful, and smooth. But here's the catch. Over time, varnish, carbon, and even microscopic rust particles from the fuel tank can clog the injectors. Instead of a mist, fuel begins to dribble, forming droplets that burn unevenly. The result? Misfires, poor mileage, loss of power, and even that annoying shaking at idle many drivers dismiss as old age. Restoring injectors doesn't always require expensive replacement. Specialized fuel additives can dissolve light deposits if used regularly. For more severe buildup, professional ultrasonic cleaning can bring them back to near-new performance. Drivers who've done this often report a dramatic transformation. The car pulls harder, idles smoother, and fuel economy improves almost overnight. Why your fuel matters. Many people believe all gasoline is the same, but this couldn't be further from the truth. The difference lies in the detergent packages blended into the fuel. High-quality fuels, often labeled as top tier, contain robust detergents that actively clean injectors, valves, and the combustion chamber as you drive. Lower-grade fuels may meet minimum standards but leave behind more residue over time. If you've ever wondered why some cars age gracefully while others of the same model feel tired and dirty, fuel quality is one of the hidden variables. Using premium detergent fuel consistently is like brushing your teeth twice a day. Small, invisible actions that prevent long-term decay. Combustion, chamber carbon, the hidden enemy. Even with good fuel, every engine accumulates carbon. Tiny deposits form on pistons, valves, and the combustion chamber walls. At first, they're harmless, but as they thicken, they begin to disrupt airflow, absorb heat, and increase compression. Suddenly, your engine may knock under load, lose efficiency, or even require higher octane fuel just to run smoothly. Think of carbon as cholesterol in your arteries. You might not notice the buildup day to day, but eventually it leads to a crisis. The good news? Regular fuel system cleaners, especially those with polyethylamine, PEA, can dissolve much of this buildup gradually. It's like sending a chemical janitor into the heart of your engine, scrubbing away the soot that robs power. If your car uses direct injection, DI, where fuel sprays directly into the cylinder instead of the intake manifold, carbon issues are even more pronounced. Because fuel no longer washes over the intake valves, those valves accumulate sticky deposits from oil vapors. Left unchecked, this leads to rough, idle, hard starts and a steady decline in performance. In such engines, periodic intake valve cleaning, sometimes called walnut blasting, is essential. Though more intensive, it's one of the most effective ways to make an older DI engine feel like it just rolled out of the showroom. Don't forget the fuel filter. Buried in your fuel line is a component few drivers ever think about: the fuel filter. Its job is to stop debris, rust, or contaminants from reaching the injectors. Over tens of thousands of miles, that filter quietly fills with gunk, restricting flow. A clogged filter makes your pump work harder, starves the injectors, and creates the same weak performance as dirty injectors themselves. Replacing the fuel filter at manufacture intervals, or even slightly sooner, is one of the cheapest ways to extend pump life and keep your injectors spraying like new. Restoring combustion. Itidadadi smoothness. Once airflow and fuel delivery are balanced, combustion becomes what it was always meant to be: a controlled, explosive release of energy. Drivers often describe the difference in poetic terms. It feels like the engine is breathing again, or I forgot it could run this smooth. That's not exaggeration. Clean injectors and chambers reduce vibrations, eliminate hesitation, and maximize the conversion of fuel into usable power. And remember, every drop of fuel that burns cleanly is one less drop wasted as soot, carbon, or heat. Over the lifespan of your vehicle, these small efficiencies compound into thousands of dollars saved, not to mention avoiding premature wear. Habit 2. Give your engine the air it deserves. Before fuel, before spark, before power, your engine needs to breathe. Air is the foundation of combustion. If air enters the system dirty, restricted, or unbalanced, everything downstream suffers. That's why the first step in restoring your engine's vitality is making sure the air system is clean and unrestricted. The forgotten hero: the air filter pop. Open your hood and look at the air filter housing. Inside sits a simple piece of pleated paper or cotton, tasked with protecting the engine from dust, pollen, sand, and road debris. Over time, that filter becomes clogged, suffocating the airflow. Imagine trying to jog while breathing through a scarf soaked in dust. You'd lose energy fast. That's exactly what happens to your engine. A dirty air filter doesn't just hurt acceleration, it can alter the air-fuel ratio, causing inefficient combustion, carbon deposits, and poor fuel economy. By contrast, a clean air filter can instantly restore responsiveness, smooth idling, and a cleaner exhaust. Key tip: don't wait for your mechanic's routine service. Check your air filter yourself every 10,000 miles, especially if you drive in dusty or urban environments. Hold it up to the light. If you can't see daylight through it, replace it. Beyond the filter, the throttle body. But breathing doesn't end at the filter. After air enters the intake, it passes through the throttle body, which regulates airflow into the combustion chamber. Over years of driving, sticky carbon residues and oil vapors coat the throttle plate. This grime narrows the airway and confuses sensors, leading to rough idling, hesitation, or that frustrating delay when you press the accelerator. Cleaning the throttle body is like giving your lungs fresh oxygen after a long day in a smoky room. A simple spray cleaner and cloth, when applied carefully, can restore precise airflow and bring back crisp throttle response. The role of sensors, MAF and MAP. Modern engines rely on data to balance combustion. Two key players are the mass airflow, MAF sensor, and the manifold absolute pressure, MAP sensor. These sensors measure how much air is entering and how dense it is, feeding that information to the ECU, engine control unit. But when coated with dirt or oil mist, they misread reality. The computer delivers the wrong amount of fuel, and your engine runs rich, smoky, or weak. Gently cleaning the MAF sensor with a specialized spray can transform how your car feels, sometimes more dramatically than a tune-up. Drivers often describe it as the car suddenly woke up. That's not placebo. It's precise air measurement restored. Why this matters long-term. Neglecting the air system isn't just about losing a bit of horsepower. Over time, restricted air causes incomplete combustion, which leads to carbon buildup on pistons, valves, and spark plugs. That buildup traps heat, increases knocking, and accelerates wear. It's a domino effect. Dirty air leads to dirty combustion, which leads to dirty components, which shortens the engine's life. By contrast, keeping the air system pristine is like giving your car a pair of new lungs every few months. It's the foundation on which all other maintenance rests. You wouldn't pour clean water into a dirty glass, so don't send clean fuel into an engine suffocating on dirty air. Habit 3. Respect the lifeblood, your engine oil. If air is breath and fuel is food, then oil is the circulatory system of your engine. It flows through every moving part start, reducing friction, carrying away heat, and even cleaning debris. Without clean, healthy oil, every other system we've discussed will eventually collapse. Yet, despite its importance, oil is one of the most neglected maintenance items. Some drivers stretch intervals far beyond what's safe, assuming modern synthetic oils can handle endless miles. Others believe the myth that as long as the dipstick shows some oil, the engine is fine. The reality is that oil health and oil levels are two entirely different battles. The double role of engine oil. Most people think oil's only job is lubrication. While reducing friction is critical, oil also cleans detergents inside oil trap, soot, carbon, and microscopic metal shavings. Cools. Flowing oil pulls heat away from pistons, bearings, and crankshafts. Protects. Anti-wear. Additives form a microscopic shield on metal surfaces. Seals. Oil helps piston rings seal against the cylinder walls, preserving compression. That means old dirty oil isn't just slippery liquid. It's a cocktail of contaminants and degraded additives that no longer protect. Oil doesn't last forever. Even high-grade synthetics eventually oxidize under heat, shear down under pressure, and absorb moisture. The longer you push it, the more it turns into sludge, a sticky, tar-like substance that clogs passages, suffocates bearings, and starves valve trains. Sludge is like cholesterol buildup inside your arteries. Once it sets in, it's extremely hard to remove without tearing down the engine. And just like in the human body, prevention is far easier than treatment. Here's where confusion runs rampant. Drivers often obsess over brand names, but the most important factor is viscosity grade and manufacturer specification. Engines are designed with microscopic tolerances, and the oil weight, like 5W30 or ZOW20, dictates how quickly oil flows when cold and how well it resists thinning when hot. Use oil that's too thick and your engine struggles during cold starts. Use oil that's too thin and bearings can be left unprotected under heavy load. Always check the owner's manual for the correct grade. Also, note that synthetic oils offer superior stability, better flow in extreme temperatures, and longer resistance to breakdown compared to conventional oils. While they cost more upfront, they save money by extending engine life and reducing wear. Every time you change oil, you're only addressing half the problem. The oil filter traps contaminants, but once saturated, it can no longer do its job. In some cases, clogged filters even bypass internally, circulating dirty oil unchecked. That's why pairing a quality filter with every oil change is just as important as the oil itself. Some manufacturers now advertise oil change intervals of 10,000, 15,000 miles. While synthetics may technically last that long, real-world conditions are rarely ideal. Short trips, stop-and-go traffic, or extreme weather all accelerate breakdown. For most drivers, 5,000, 7,500 miles is a safer interval, especially if you want your engine to last decades, not just years. Think of oil changes like dental checkups. Sure, you can skip them and get away with it for a while, but eventually, hidden decay will come due, and the cost of neglect will dwarf what preventive care would have cost. Running low on oil is an immediate threat. When oil levels drop too far, the pump begins sucking air, starving bearings and camshafts of lubrication. Even a brief episode of oil starvation can cause irreversible scoring on cylinder walls or crank journals. That's why checking your dipstick regularly, something most modern drivers never do, is critical. A few seconds in your driveway could save you thousands of dollars in engine repairs. For engines with over 100,000 miles, high-mileage oils contain extra conditioners that rejuvenate rubber seals, reducing leaks and seepage. While they're not miracle cures, they can extend the healthy life of older engines. As for oil additives, the market is flooded with miracle bottles promising instant horsepower or eternal life. Most are snake oil. Stick with high-quality oils from reputable brands and let the built-in additive package do its work. The only legitimate supplement worth considering is a molybdenum or zinc-rich break-in oil for older or rebuilt engines, which provides extra protection during the most vulnerable hours of use. Ask any mechanic. One of the most dramatic turnarounds they witness comes right after an overdue oil change. A tired, noisy engine suddenly quiets down. The throttle response sharpens. Even the idle smooths out. That's not magic. It's simply the mechanical system finally receiving the lubrication and protection it's been starving for. Drivers often underestimate how much oil health influences the overall driving experience. Clean oil is invisible when it's doing its job, job, but you'll absolutely notice when it's not. Habit 4. Respect the airflow and the electronic brain. An internal combustion engine is essentially a massive air pump. Every bit of power, smoothness, and efficiency it delivers depends on how effectively it pulls in clean air, mixes it with fuel, and then ignites it at the perfect moment. But here's the thing. Modern engines are no longer dumb hunks of metal. They rely on an orchestra of sensors and computers that measure, adjust, and refine this air-fuel dance thousands of times per second. When these systems are neglected, ignored, or tampered with, the result is more than just poor fuel economy. It can mean stalling, hesitation, hard starts, fouled spark plugs, and even catastrophic engine failure over time. Start with the air filter. It's simple, cheap, and boring, yet it's the frontline defender of your engine's lungs. Dust, sand, pollen, and road grime constantly bombard your intake. If that junk slips past, it acts like sandpaper inside your cylinders, grinding away at piston rings and cylinder walls. A clogged filter, on the other hand, suffocates your engine. Imagine trying to sprint with a rag stuffed in your mouth. Performance drops, fuel economy plummets, and emissions spike. The solution? Inspect and replace it regularly. Don't wait for the filter to look filthy. By then, airflow has already been restricted for thousands of miles. Most mechanics suggest every 15,000, 30,000 miles, but in dusty or urban environments, sooner is smarter. Tip number 9. Maintain a clean throttle body. Think of the throttle body as the gatekeeper of your engine. It regulates exactly how much air enters the combustion chambers every time you press the accelerator. A clean throttle body responds instantly to your input, delivering smooth acceleration, efficient fuel burn, and consistent idle. A dirty one, on the other hand, behaves like a clogged doorway, hesitating, stumbling, and sometimes even surging without warning. Many drivers never even consider this component, but neglect here can make your engine feel sluggish and unresponsive, almost as if it has aged a decade overnight. That's because carbon and oil vapors gradually coat the throttle plate and housing, reducing airflow precision. The computer senses the restriction and tries to compensate, often leading to rough idle, poor mileage, and delayed acceleration. Cleaning it is simpler than most people think. You don't need an advanced workshop, just a screwdriver, a can of throttle body cleaner, and a lint-free cloth. By carefully removing the air intake tube and spraying the cleaner while wiping away deposits, you restore that critical smooth airflow. Do this every 20,000 to 30,000 miles, and the difference will be dramatic. Drivers often describe it as their engine waking up again. Imagine stepping onto a treadmill with your lungs coated in dust. You'd feel short of breath quickly, right? That's exactly what happens to your car if the throttle body is neglected. With this simple step, you ensure that your engine breathes clear and free, keeping it strong and reliable well into the future. Tip number 8. Check and clean the mass airflow sensor, MAF. If the throttle body is the gatekeeper, then the mass airflow sensor is the air traffic controller. It measures how much air is rushing into the engine and sends that data to the ECU, Engine Control Unit. The ECU then calculates the exact amount of fuel to inject, ensuring a precise air-fuel mixture. When the MAF sensor gets dirty or misreads airflow, your engine is essentially running blind, dumping too much fuel or not enough, leading to stalling, poor mileage, and power loss. This tiny part, often overlooked, is incredibly sensitive. Even a thin film of dirt, oil residue, or dust can throw off readings. Symptoms of a failing or dirty MAF include check engine lights, hesitation under acceleration, and irregular fuel economy. Luckily, cleaning it is quick and inexpensive. With a specialized MAF cleaner spray, you can carefully remove the sensor without touching the delicate wires and spray away the contaminants. The result? Restored precision, smoother performance, and a fuel system that runs like it was designed to. In fact, many drivers report instant improvements after this step. Think of it as recalibrating your car's senses. Suddenly, it knows exactly how to breathe again. Neglecting the MAF, however, can send you down a costly rabbit hole. Mechanics may start replacing fuel pumps, injectors, or even entire ECUs when the real culprit was simply a dirty sensor all along. Spending 5 minutes on this task could save save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars later. Tip number 7. Choose the right fuel quality. Gasoline isn't just gasoline. Behind the pump nozzle, there are huge differences in quality, detergents, and additives. While many people chase the cheapest price per gallon, what they don't see is the hidden cost accumulating inside their engine. Low-quality fuel can leave carbon deposits on valves, reduce lubrication, and clog injectors. Over time, the engine runs less efficiently, forcing it to work harder and wear faster. Using higher quality fuel, especially those certified with robust detergent packages, helps keep the combustion chambers clean. This doesn't mean you always need premium grade. Instead, follow your manufacturer's recommendations and look for top-tier certified gasoline when possible. The difference lies not in octane alone, but in the ability of the fuel to protect your engine from long-term buildup. Here's an analogy. Imagine eating fast food every single day compared to balanced, nutrient-rich meals. You might not notice the effects immediately, but in the long run, your health will suffer. The same applies to your car's fuel diet. Treat it well, and it will reward you with smoother starts, more consistent power, and fewer breakdowns. One more thing. Don't run your tank near empty often. When you do, you increase the risk of drawing sediment into your fuel system, which can clog filters and damage pumps. Keep at least a quarter tank at all times to prolong the life of the entire fuel delivery system. Tip number 6. Never neglect regular oil changes. This one might sound obvious, but it's incredible how many people still stretch their oil changes far beyond recommended intervals. Your engine oil is not just lubrication, it's also a cleaner, a coolant, and a protector. Fresh oil washes away harmful particles, prevents metal-on-metal contact, and keeps temperatures stable. Old, degraded oil, on the other hand, becomes thick, contaminated, and corrosive, slowly grinding away at your engine's most delicate surfaces. Skipping oil changes is like refusing to change the blood in your own body. The consequences may not appear right away, but over time, you'll face severe damage. Worn bearings, scored pistons, clogged passages, and catastrophic failure. Oil neglect is the #1 engine killer. Choosing the right oil also matters. Follow your owner's manual, but don't skimp on quality. Synthetic oils, while slightly more expensive, often provide superior protection, especially in extreme conditions. Pair this with a good quality oil filter. Cheap filters can bypass contaminants, undoing all the benefits of new oil. And here's a crucial point. Even if you don't drive much, oil still degrades over time due to moisture and oxidation. So change it based on both mileage and months elapsed. That discipline alone can mean the difference between an engine that fails at 120,000 miles and one that sails past 300,000. Tip number 5. Avoid cheap or low-quality oil. Now, let's take it further. Even if you do change your oil, the type of oil you choose defines your engine's future. Cheap oils often lack the additives that modern engines demand. These additives are not just extra chemicals. They're the guardians that fight oxidation, prevent corrosion, reduce foam, and keep your engine clean. Without them, your oil is basically water with a bit of grease. Imagine pouring budget oil into a high-performance machine. It's like feeding an athlete nothing but junk food and expecting Olympic results. Over time, deposits form, wear increases, and efficiency plummets. Your car doesn't just need oil, it needs the right oil. Always follow the specifications in your owner's manual, and when in doubt, choose synthetic. Yes, it costs more, but it's like buying insurance against a $5,000 engine rebuild. Tip number 6. Never ignore coolant and temperature. While oil keeps things slippery, coolant keeps things alive. Heat is the silent killer of engines, and it builds up faster than most realize. One minute, everything feels normal. The next, your temperature gauge spikes into the red, and suddenly you're on the side of the highway with steam erupting from under the hood. Coolant isn't just water. It's a carefully engineered mixture that raises boiling points, lowers freezing points, and prevents rust inside your engine. When you neglect coolant changes, it starts losing its protective qualities. Old coolant allows corrosion to eat away at the radiator, the water pump, and even the head gasket. And when the gasket fails, it's often game over for the engine. That's why you must check coolant levels, flush it at the recommended intervals, and never drive with an overheating car. Every extra minute your engine runs hot is like shaving weeks, even months, off its life expectancy. Tip number 3. Don't mistreat the transmission. Engines get most of the attention, but the transmission is the unsung hero that actually delivers power to the wheels. Abuse it, and you'll face one of the most expensive repairs in car ownership. Driving habits like slamming the gear shift, towing heavy loads without proper fluid coolers, or ignoring transmission fluid changes are silent killers. Transmission fluid is to gears what oil is to pistons. It lubricates, cools, and keeps hydraulic systems functioning. Once that fluid degrades, shifting becomes rough, gears slip, and clutches burn. It doesn't happen overnight. It sneaks up gradually until one day the transmission refuses to engage at all. A rebuilt transmission can cost more than the car itself. That's why checking fluid color and smell should be part of your ritual. If it's dark, burnt, or low, it's a warning your car is begging for attention. Tip number 2. Filters are your first line of defense. Air, fuel, oil. Every one of these systems relies on filters to stay clean. Think of filters as the lungs and kidneys of your car. They breathe for it, they purify what enters, and they protect the delicate machinery from contamination. Ignore them, and you invite disaster. An old oil filter allows sludge to circulate. A dirty air filter suffocates combustion, lowering power and fuel efficiency. A clogged fuel filter makes your pump work overtime until it fails. In short, filters are tiny parts with massive responsibility. They don't cost much, but their neglect costs everything. Replacing them at scheduled intervals is one of the cheapest and smartest ways to extend the life of your engine and maintain that like-new performance you want. Tip number 1. Don't ignore small signs. Every breakdown has whispers before the scream. The subtle vibration in the steering wheel, the faint smell of burning oil, the little hesitation when shifting gears. These are not random quirks. They are your car's early warnings. Ignore them, and they grow into catastrophic failures that could have been prevented with a simple check. A squealing belt today becomes a snapped belt tomorrow. A faint tapping sound in the engine becomes a seized piston. A tiny drip of coolant becomes a blown head gasket. Cars are like the human body. The earlier you detect an illness, the easier and cheaper it is to fix. Listening to your car is free. Ignoring it can cost thousands. Develop the habit of paying attention to changes in sound, smell, and feel. A car that just doesn't feel right is already telling you the truth. This one often goes unnoticed, but it matters deeply, especially for new or rebuilt engines. Every engine has a break-in period where parts are settling into their long-term wear patterns. If you drive aggressively during those first 1,000 miles, you're essentially carving poor habits into the metal itself. Proper break-in, varying speeds, avoiding redline, allowing full warm-up before stress ensures that your engine matures into a reliable companion instead of a ticking time bomb. The first miles decide the next 100,000. Treat them with care. When people complain that their car died too young, it's rarely about bad luck. It's usually about bad habits. Engines don't fail overnight. They fail one neglected oil change at a time, one overheated trip at a time, one ignored filter at a time. But here's the powerful truth. With the right habits, your engine doesn't just survive, it thrives. You can make a car with 150,000 miles feel as smooth as the day it left the factory. You can push your vehicle well past the 500,000-mile mark, not because of magic, but because of discipline, patience, and respect for engineering. So the choice is yours. Treat your engine like a disposable tool, or treat it like a partner that rewards you for every bit of care you give. If you found these tips eye-opening, remember this: your engine's future depends on what you do today. Don't wait until it's too late. Start applying these habits, and your car will thank you every mile of the way. And if you want more insights on keeping your car running like new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this video with every driver you know. Because the truth is, most people are destroying their engines without even realizing it. Don't let them, or you, make that mistake.